Hello and welcome to the Greg Fearon podcast with your host Greg Fearon. And today I have Manisha Morgan, a nutritionist who I'm sure is going to bring lots of laughter. She's going to bash some myths. And I think there could be some rants. So be ready on this episode. Manisha, welcome to the show.
Hi, Greg. Thank you very much for inviting me. This is exciting. It's my first one.
Awesome. So we're breaking your podcast cherry. Awesome.
Yes.
Brilliant. And just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, and then your journey to where you are now and why you do what you do.
Okay. So I am. I'm a qualified, certified nutritionist. I kind of do it. I also have a day job as well, so I'm just kind of transitioning full time into the nutrition world. But I've been practicing for about 2 and a bit years. Got qualified last year, and what led me to the world of nutrition is quite a few things over a period of about probably 15 years. It all started off with I've been going to the gym for years and years, had personal trainers for years and years, and eventually I did the marathon in 2016, and
Wow.
what should I say, I signed up for the marathon. Got a bit carried away with the running, had major injuries. So after 4 weeks of training, I had to pull out. But I said, look, my tickets and everything are already booked and I'm going to go ahead with it anyway. So I couldn't train for the rest of the whole time. So basically, I didn't really do any training because I wasn't a runner. And it turns out it was because I wasn't eating enough protein. Because I didn't, back in then, this was 2016. I don't even know if social media was around then. But I really did not have any clue about, what even protein. I didn't even know what I was eating, to be honest with you. So then at the time I realized that I wasn't fueling my body correctly. So that's number one from the gym perspective. The second thing was when I got married, I found out that on the outside I was a picture of health. I went to the gym, very active, didn't drink, don't smoke, but ended up having to have IVF, quite a few rounds of it, and that's when my real nutrition journey kind of started, because I understood the importance of, what you see on the outside is not a reflection of what you see on the inside, and just what nutrition can do to the inside of your body, as well as the obvious things with mental health, etc., and the way that you look. So that was the second one. But even then I still didn't really kind of take it seriously, kind of dabbled with it, got a little bit more interested, kind of did it most of the time but not all the time. And then the real crux was about 4 years ago when I started to hit the menopause, and I was like, oh my gosh, right, everything just gets more and more difficult. And really that's where it kind of stemmed from. I just thought, I'm getting older, I want to stay healthy, and it became more of health then, more than rather how I wanted to look or how I wanted to feel. It was just I understood the importance in particular of exercising and nutrition for older health rather than for now. So that's what led me to go ahead and do a course in nutrition, and here I am, and I love it.
Awesome. So I often we've met through social media, haven't we? So
yeah,
often I see a few of your little rants. There's some really great information you put out, but there's also a few rants. So let's have a rant to start with. Let's give the listeners a little rah.
Where do you want to start? Which topic?
Let's I think we had a conversation maybe about 2 weeks ago where one of your pet peeves was about people ramming certain nutrition
biases.
Yes, that's the
Yes.
word. Thank you. Down people's throats. So what's your thoughts on what was that about?
You see, when it comes to weight loss, most people, most clients, they want something that is very, very extreme and very different to what they're doing at the moment. So when somebody comes along and says, right, okay, the best way to lose weight is to cut out a food group, or to do a certain type of exercise, or to do this, people fall into that trap of, well, you know what, I've been eating carbs, or I've been eating sugar, and I haven't been losing weight, so if I cut it out, I must lose weight. And it's those extreme, we all have biases. Like, I'm sure you have your biased way of eating or your biased way of dieting. I have mine, I have lots of mine. But the important thing is that as a professional, whatever job you do, you should never inflict your biases onto the people that you're working with, because what you should be doing is looking at that person, their lifestyle, their preferences, and then basing their program, their plan around what they want. Because at the end of the day, you want something that's going to be a program that's going to be adherent and a program that's going to be sustainable. So if you say to somebody, right, I want you to go on the cabbage diet, or, you know, I want you to go and start drinking celery juice, is it sustainable? No. Is it best for your health? No. Will you lose weight? Perhaps, maybe a little bit at the beginning, but it's not the right way to do it. So I have an issue with anybody who inflicts their own biases onto people, and especially if there's no evidence behind their claims. Because I am, by the way, an evidence-based practitioner.
Mm. And that's an interesting point. And I'm going to upset a group of people on the podcast, and I don't mean to. I've spoken about veganism on the podcast before, but I think where people have to just be very careful is, like you said, is the line between this is the way that I do it and this is the way you should do it. Because it's really hard for people to change their lifestyle, right?
Absolutely. And the thing is, I mean, Greg, I had a conversation with a client just a couple of days ago. Let's talk about calories tracking. Okay, I am biased towards calorie tracking because I think initially it just gives people an understanding of what the foods that they're eating and just a bit of an awareness. However, should that be for everybody? Absolutely not. So the first question I ask my clients is, do you want to calorie track? I give them the pros and the cons, and I say to them, look, if you're obsessed with numbers, if it's going to stress you out, if it's going to be time consuming, don't do it. But however, if you want to have a little bit more education around what you're eating, calorie tracking should never, ever, ever be forever, ever. It should be for a short period of time. And that's a classic example of, you know, you get people who are really, really pro, you must do it. But then equally, you get a lot of influencers, dietitians, nutritionists who are anti-calorie tracking. Now, those people, Greg, I don't know if you know of these people, but they've all come from a history of eating disorders. So of course they are going to discourage people from doing that. Well, I don't come from a history of eating disorders. So if I had a client that did come from a history of eating disorders, we wouldn't even discuss it. So again, it goes back down to looking at the individual person and looking to see what is best for them, because stress, as we know, plays a massive part in weight loss. And if anything is going to stress you out, shouldn't be doing it.
So that's a really interesting point, because you do get a lot of these influencers who are very much, no, you shouldn't calorie track because it's diet culture, and all these kind of things. And I don't think there's an issue with wanting to change your body. You can still love yourself and change your body. But I do think there's too much of this, you must do my way, and people grab onto that.
Yeah. And this is the thing, and Greg, let me tell you something. I don't know if you know, but a lot of nutritionists are nutritionists for a reason. Okay, they've had their own journey. Okay, so I've had my own journey, and that's why my passion is about health, because I've seen how, you know, I've got twins who are 9 years old. I had 5 rounds of IVF in 1 year. So anyone who's had IVF will know that's really demanding, you know, psychologically, on your body, on your health, everything, mentally, financially. Now, would I, so for me, I come from a health perspective with my nutrition. For other people, it's because they've come from a history of eating disorders or whatever it might be. You know, there might be athletes that have, you know, gained an interest in their nutrition and then they've gone to do it as a career. So everyone is there for a reason. So it depends on what your reason is, and that reason generally becomes their passion. So I see this all the time with influencers, and it really winds me up, because I just think to myself, well, that's your way, but actually you might have a client who hasn't got an eating disorder, and actually they might want to track calories. But if you're having that that opinion from the beginning, you're not even giving them an option. Whereas I am pro calorie counting for a short period of time, but however, I give the option. And it's always best to lay out the pros and cons of any scenario and give people the option to decide for themselves based on themselves, their lifestyle, what their obsessiveness is, you know. So I do find, and that's my next rant actually, that's coming up, is about influencers who are anti dieting and anti, calorie counting.
Go on, let's go. Let's talk about it. Go on, let's dive in. So there's this kind of movement called Haze, I believe. It's like health at every size. And one of the things I've seen recently is a lot of ladies who are, look, let's just be honest, they're fairly overweight, obese, and they've been in that kind of health at every size movement. And then they've decided that they want to change their bodies. And then what's happened is that they've been kind of, oh, you shouldn't be dieting, you shouldn't be trying to lose weight and all this kind of stuff. Love yourself. And that really jars me. Like, it's your body. Do what you want with it. If you want to get bigger, get bigger. If you want to get smaller, get smaller. It's your body. You decide. But yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the way that I see that is, you know what, at the end of the day, being slim doesn't make people happy. Being overweight doesn't make people happy. So the root of everything for me, and this isn't just about nutrition, it's about life in general, is happiness. Because you can't buy happiness. You can have everything given to you on a plate. You can have, money in the bank. But if you're not happy, then it kind of negates everything. And I will say to people, again, not with dieting, just generally, if you're dying, if you're on your deathbed, if you can look back on your life and say, you know what, I've had a happy life, you're doing well. Yeah. So whether that is because you're a size 18 or whether it's because you're a size 8, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have a healthy relationship with your brain, really. Your mental health should always come first. Now, there are not advantages, should I say, that's probably the wrong word, but there are lots of health benefits of having less body fat. And as we know that not everybody who is slim has low body fat, because you could be skinny fat, which means that you are slim. And this is me, actually, it probably still is me now, which is where you appear to be slim, but you actually have a high level of body fat, visceral fat. Is that what it's called? Yeah, around your vital organs. And that's not healthy. So it's, again, looking at the individual person. But equally, you have overweight people who have my sister is massively overweight, but she has no health issues. However, could she benefit from losing a little bit of weight? Yes, because when it comes to just general movement, she really struggles, Greg, and it's, and as a person who is, the only time I can relate to being how she is when I was pregnant. Because I'd gained about 5 stones when I was pregnant because I was carrying twins. And it was really, it's difficult being pregnant anyway, but when you're that big and you're pregnant, everything slows down.
I would never know.
No, you don't want to know, Greg. You don't want to know. But you know what? So there are some disadvantages from a health perspective, and there are lots of studies which show that high levels of body fat can lead to higher inflammation in the body, which can then lead to metabolic disease. So there are all of those, but that's not to say that everybody who is a certain weight will experience those. So again, it's down to the person. And as with in your PT, the bottom line for any type of behavioral change is the person has to accept that they're ready for change. Because if you're not ready for change, then I'm wasting my time. And I've learned this now over time, is when I'm speaking to anybody, even if it's just a friend about nutrition, or I now know when to stop, because sometimes I know I'm wasting my breath. People need to be ready. And equally, if people come to me and asking me for a consultation, I now don't chase them up, because I think, well, if you want it, then you've got to show me that you're ready. Because you know what? It takes a little bit of commitment. It's not going to be easy, especially if you're new to this whole world. And what I teach people, Greg, is I actually teach people how to understand nutrition, how it impacts their health, how it impacts how could they be flexible around their way of eating to adapt to their situations, and that all takes time. And there's got to be a certain level of commitment involved from the other person in order to learn that. Because I'm not, and actually what I forgot to mention was what really kickstarted my nutrition course for myself was I did the body coach. And the body coach was a meal plan. And I hated that food. Absolutely hated it. So I didn't really get the results.
Is this the same body coach who tells people not the calories don't matter? but then actually says calories matter.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think his marketing team probably said, yeah, I think we should probably maybe admit to that. But you see, what happened in that program is you just get given a plan. You get given your macro. I think you get given a
Yeah,
no, sorry, you don't get given a macro. No, you just get a meal plan, right? So you've got no idea. So by the way, you've got no idea how active that person is, because your calories are dependent on your energy in and your energy out. So if me and you are exactly the same height, the same weight, the same build, everything pretty much the same, but you've got a desk job and I'm a post lady, for example, I'm going to be burning a lot more calories than you are. So all that kind of stuff isn't taken into consideration. And that's one of the reasons why different people get different results when they're on these body plans, on these meal plans, because they're not bespoke. But also what happened is at the end of the 3 months, you get given this whole macro kind of like summary. And I'm like, what the hell is a macro? So there's absolutely no education. And the reason why there is no education with a lot of programs is because they want you to come back.
Yeah.
They want you to fail and come back to them.
I totally agree that for me, with my nutrition coaching, it's all about, I want you to go away. Now, it's really weird. A lot of my clients will stay. I'm like, go away. You don't need to be with me. They're educated. But You're right. It's, for me, and I'm with you, is about the empowerment of it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something a minute ago and it really caught my attention. Do you think that we're trying to make change or nutrition too easy? Like we sell it as like this really easy thing. So all you have to do is this, this, and this to get the results. But you were saying that actually it's harder than what people think it is.
Yeah, I think it's harder because people say eat less, move more. Well, yes, that's right. But what about the whole education about the eating? Because the movement thing is, I don't know, maybe it's okay. But even with the movement thing, one of the first questions that I normally get asked is, do you know a PT? And I'll say, well, what's your goal? And they'll say, I want to lose weight. I'll say, so why is that your first port of call? A PT will certainly help you to achieve what you want to achieve, but your first port of call is nutrition. You have to understand the 3 different macronutrient groups, fats, carbs, and proteins, and how they impact your body, why you need them, and then understand how much of what you need depending on what your goal is. So yes, I do think it's simplified, and a lot of people don't teach that. And you know what, in the first month of working with me, most people might find it a little bit overwhelming, but you know what, we take it step by step. So week 1 we'll do something, week 2 we'll focus on something else, week 3, because it can be very overwhelming, because people don't know, neither did I. And I always have to remind people, and anybody listening, you should never feel that, oh my gosh, I don't know anything, because you and I both started not knowing anything. So it's all a learning game. I'm still learning now. So yes, I think it is a little bit simplified. And personally, I think the way to success is to understand what works for you, how to implement it, and the strategy that you're going to take, because there are lots of different strategies. They all work, but it's finding one that's going to suit you.
And that's a really good point. Like, you know what makes me laugh? So and people listening will understand. On Facebook or Instagram or even LinkedIn, wherever people are, their social media, and they put up this stuff going, I'm an individual woman, I'm this woman, I'm unique, blah, 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 blah. And then on the other hand, oh, can I follow that diet plan?
Yeah.
So why do you think that happens?
I think it all comes back down to the lack of education. I think there aren't enough people educating. Everybody will probably tell you bits and pieces of the jigsaw, but what you need is you need all the pieces of a jigsaw in order to understand how it works. And I think diet plans for some, and diet plans for some people do work. I know my cousin, she would hate it if I said to her, look, you can eat what you like. And I, believe it or not, people really struggle with, you can eat what you like. You can eat what you like, what you enjoy. Let's just make small changes. Yeah. So if you like eating bread, eat bread. Let's pick a different type of bread. That's all.
But
So
is that because people have been conditioned to think that everything has to be really hardcore and they have to eat like their favorite influencer?
Yes.
Right.
People think that, you've got and it's very unfortunate that even with personal trainers, as you know, there are lots of people who have millions of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers, and they just convey the wrong messages. So, on my story yesterday, a couple of days ago, I came to hear about Ollie Murs. I don't know if I'm allowed to say names, but he was promoting a omega-3 gummy bear tablet. Okay. Now, when I looked, first of all, cod liver oil is not the same as omega-3. He also mentioned the fact that there was vitamin D in there. The vitamin D in there was so minute that it didn't even meet the government recommendations. And as nutritionists, we recommend a lot higher dose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, already there, he has 3.4 million viewers, right? Followers. How many of those people, even if 1% of those people went out and bought those, they've been misinformed. So I basically did a rant about that. I said, influencers, celebrities, they get given these products for free. They don't understand. I don't expect them to understand what exactly is EPA and DHA. I don't expect them to understand that, but I expect the manufacturers to explain to them what it is, because if you're going to be promoting a product, that's what you need to do. Now, what was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, so it's just that kind of thing. You see that these people who have a massive following, why wouldn't you believe them? Because if you're not following people like myself and you, who give a neutral overview of, for whatever you're promoting for your PT and me for nutrition, why would you know? Because I had so many messages after that saying, oh my God, I had no idea. I said, well, why would you? Because if you're only following people like him, big celebrities, then, and what I said actually was, me and you get paid a salary, right? What do celebrities get paid for? What is their, a lot of them, that is their salary.
Yes, endorsements, of a product.
Yeah. So, so if you're going to get paid, I don't know how much, a lot of money, it can be quite tempting. So, so it's really frustrating, because there's little me, trying to convey the right messages, but yet we need to spread the word more to a lot more people, to say, look, this is how it should be. And I think because they've been conditioned, like you say, to believing, like even with personal trainers, I've seen so many on Instagram saying, oh, this is how you need to get rid of your bingo wings, and this is how you need to get rid of your thigh fat. And I'm like, but we know that can't be possible, yet you're misleading people.
But I think the issue is, and this is the problem, nutrition, coaching, all of that, PT, all of that stuff. Well, I think what's happened is that marketers got hold of PTs and nutritionists.
Yeah.
So we're now trying to write headlines that sell
Yes.
the dream to the client. And that's really tough, because obviously you want people to come in and work with you and help you. And we've all got businesses to run. We've got bills to pay and stuff. Me and you've trained in nutrition. I've trained, movement stuff. We've done all these courses over the years. So we want to help people. But in order to compete, it needs to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
So people will do the bingo wing workout and all that kind of stuff, which we know is absolute rubbish.
I mean, I get asked all the time, how do I reduce my tummy fat? Well, if I knew the answer to that, I'd probably have like 10 million followers. Do you see what I mean? So
calorie deficit.
Yeah, exactly. Patience, consistency. Those are the things that people don't want to hear. That's the thing, people want to hear. And, I was the same, Greg. Like I used to say to my personal trainer, and I look back now to all those years that I had a personal trainer, I'm like, oh my God, you didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that. Why didn't you tell me that? So it's the same for nutritionists as well. It's people, a lot of people tell people what they want to hear. And the hard truth is actually there is some change, but actually there's not that much change. It's just about the education.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because when you're dieting, you don't need to, I always say to my clients, tell me what you like. If you like yogurt, bread, pasta, whatever it is, just tell me what you like. And then let's find a version of that food that will fit into your macros, into your calorie for the day, whatever, you know. So popcorn is a great example. I love popcorn. If you go and buy the standard popcorn, you know, it can be the sweet ones can be quite high in calories. So, you know, if you buy the skinny popcorn, it's like a third of the calories. So there's just, that's the kind of education, isn't it, that you kind of want to give people? Because I always say to people that once you finish with me, you won't ever need to go and see anyone else again, because you'll be armed with that information. You'll know what strategy to take when you have an event coming up. So, because let's face it, Greg, like, again, I'm sure you will know, weight loss is a lot easier than weight maintenance, isn't it?
Do you know what? I was talking to someone else about this the other day. I do think we have I was speaking to one of my clients actually. We do have a weight maintenance issue, not a weight loss issue.
Yeah, because we all know to a degree that what we kind of need to do for weight loss. But actually, I mean, in fact, I had a lady yesterday, my first one actually, as a new client who's come to me for weight maintenance. And I've said to her, it's going to be a little bit of trial and error, and you will gain a little bit of weight back. So be prepared for that. But actually, you need to find a way now that is going to be sustainable for the weight that you're going to, you know, for the weight that you're at now. So, and that can be quite tricky.
Yeah, I think I kind of explain it as like, I use this example and I just say, how many times have you've gone up and down the scale? So when clients have plateaus or they think are plateaus and they're actually just in maintenance, I'm like, right, I've sometimes put clients on 2 weeks of maintenance. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
like,
great idea.
we don't do check-ins. We just, you know, and we just enjoy life a little bit, remove the stress. There's a bit of a diet break. And then afterwards, like, oh my God, I've trained less and I've enjoyed a few nights out and haven't gone up in weight. And I'm like, ta-da.
Well, one of those reasons for that is because it resets, going back to maintenance or in a slight slur plus, you're allowing your hormones to reset, aren't you? The ghrelin and the leptin levels. So, and that's really important, because again, when I spoke to a client, this particular client yesterday, I said to her, how long have you been on a diet? And then she said, oh, I think it was since March, since pretty much since lockdown. And she's done amazing. I mean, she's done absolutely amazing to achieve what she's achieved. But I said, that's a long time to be dieting without a diet break. So I said, you know, those are the kind of things that when people are going alone, they obviously wouldn't know, because why would you know? I wouldn't have known that. You wouldn't have known that. So that maintenance period again can be quite unusual for a lot of people. Just like sometimes when people go on holiday and they're like, oh, my weight didn't go up, and I'm like, well, you probably needed that to reset all your hormones, you know.
Yeah, physically and mentally, just a break from being in the deficit. It's no,
and especially if you're training as well, because training is really taxing as well to the body, isn't it? It's really stressful again, because a lot of women don't understand that, because they're doing all this extra cardio or lifting or moving, and they're on like 800 calories a day. I'm like, oh my God. No.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm really pushing nutrition a lot more, and I'm really working a lot more online with nutrition. And I'm saying to clients, you're going to train less. And they're like, oh my God, no, you can train less. And then when they lose weight, they're like, oh, I'm like,
yeah. And exactly that. Like sometimes I've had to say to people, look, your step count is like 20 odd thousand. I need you to go back down to 10. And they're like, what? I said, you know, you just got to trust me. But you know, it's quite a lot of trust, Greg, that they have in people like yourself and me. And that's why that relationship between you and your coach is so important. You know, you've got to find, I said to people, you've got to find somebody that you're going to be comfortable working with, that you're going to be honest with, because one of the conversations that I have at the beginning is, please be honest with me about anything that you may have done or may not have done, because otherwise I'll be sitting thinking, hey, hang on a minute, so she's done that, you've done that, and that's done, but you haven't lost any weight this week. I said, if you've had a binge, if you've gone out and overgone it, it's fine, just tell me. And you know, it's really important to have that open relationship of trust, because you know, they will get to where they want to get to a lot quicker, and then you will know, I will know what to adapt if we need to adapt to anything. So that's really important.
So there was something you alluded to later on. I want to kind of switch tack a little bit, and you talked about protein. Now, are you vegetarian? Just to remind me.
Yes.
Awesome. So Gujarati background.
Yes.
So lots of rotli and shak and mug.
Oh,
and
yeah.
onvo.
Yeah. Well, my mum's been staying with me. So that first lockdown, she stayed with me for about 3 months. So I had all of everything that you just mentioned up loads of times. And then just now in the last lockdown, she went home on the 2nd of December. Oh my gosh. And do you know what? It really opened up my eyes. I kind of knew about a vegetarian protein diet, but it really opened up my eyes. And I do speak about it quite a lot, and how it can be quite challenging, again, if you don't know how to meet your protein requirements as a vegetarian. And as a vegan, even more so.
So, because I've got quite a lot of an Indian following, hence why I know a little bit about food, and you know, I
like it all though, Greg.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, some rotli and some shack.
Yeah, brilliant.
With a little bit of mug on the side. Yeah, man, I'm down. So because one of the things I try to really explain, because obviously a lot of them are vegetarian, is about protein. So what can ladies do listening to this? How can they get their protein up if they're vegetarian? That's a real big one.
Yeah, I think, so I've done a lot, and I think, Greg, I don't know if you find this as well, but I found that the most talked about macronutrient is protein, because it's the most challenging one. Because you know what, I've never had to say to anyone, oh, can you up your carbs a little bit more, can you up your fats a little bit more, oh, you're not eating enough carbs. Generally it's like, can you reduce them a little bit? So it is really challenging. And I think what I say to people, I mean, I've got loads of information on my page. I just did it just before Christmas, on literally talked everyone through step by step, learning all about protein. What is protein? What's a complete protein? What's an incomplete protein? And vegetarians and vegans need to be a little bit more savvy about this, you see, because then it helps them to make better choices. And like you said, it's the empowerment. So we need to understand, you know, what's an incomplete protein, what's a complete protein, what's a lean protein. So a lot of vegetarian Asian food is not lean.
Is that because there's lots of ghee and lots of...
Well, if you add in ghee and all that to it, then yes. But if you're taking like mug, for example, if you take anything like chana, chickpeas, any types of the lentils, beans, whatever, they do have a level of protein in them, but they're actually higher in carbs than they are in protein. So now if you're dieting, that's quite important, because you want to try to get as much protein as you can for the least amount of calories. So that's where lean protein comes into consideration, because as a vegetarian in the Asian diet, there aren't that many lean proteins. So so if you have mug with rice, for example, that's a perfect combination. That's a perfect example of a complete protein, because I mean, I won't go into the science of it too much, because it's a little bit complicated, but there are certain foods that need to be combined together to make a complete protein, and mug and rice is one of them. Any kind of lentils and beans and rice is one example. But for vegetarians, you know, we need to find lean sources of protein, and that is foods that are high in protein but have less or lower carbs and fats. And that's really important for when you're dieting, because then it means that you can enjoy a lot more rotli and a lot more rice and everything else. So, you know, corn is an example. And luckily, because of oh God, what's that Netflix documentary?
Oh, Game Changer. Don't get me started on Game Changer.
Because of Game Changer, the only good thing that came out of Game Changer, right, is so many people became vegans. And as a result of that, we now have a lot more products on the market. I mean, a lot more, Greg. 2 years ago, it was tofu or corn pretty much, and Linda McCartney. Now every supermarket has their own range, and you know what? Some of them are bloody brilliant. Oh, so that is the only positive thing about the Game Changer coming out. But everything else that's in the documentary is rubbish, as we know. But yeah, so there's a lot more products available now. And again, I had this conversation yesterday with an Indian vegetarian client about, you know what, it is going to have to be about trial and error. You know, you're going to have to just buy some of these protein foods and see what you like, you know. But another quick tip is swapping your low fat yogurt, the Greek style or any other type of yogurt, for Greek yogurt. You can make chash with Greek yogurt. You can make raita with Greek yogurt. You can you know, I've got quite a lot of dishes actually. Vagari rotli you can make with Greek yogurt. So what gadi you can make. So, you know, there's lots of examples of where you can include higher proteins into the foods that you're eating. So already I haven't said, oh, you know, don't eat that and don't eat that. What we've said is just add a little bit there. You know, so with your potato shag, have your potato shag, but have a little bit of yogurt on the side. Have your mutter, you know, your peas and beans shag, whatever. And actually, peas is another one, because I did a protein hack video a few weeks ago, and peas is another good one.
Yep.
And actually, now what I say to my mom is, when she makes me peas, aubergine, and green beans, is I say add a little bit of edamame beans in there, because edamame beans are a complete protein, and they're actually really nice. So, you know, she made me a soya, you can get like soya chunks. We only tried this for the first time. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't keen on it. My husband liked it, but soya chunks curry.
Nice.
So, but I think maybe it was the way that she made it. I think you could definitely make it a lot in a different way. But again, it's all experimental. You know, a lot of this stuff as a vegetarian, we're just going to have to experiment and just find what we like. So how she made it, I didn't necessarily like, but the soya bits were actually quite nice. And that's an example of a lean protein. So,
so let's just stay on this topic for a second. I think this is a really important one, and this would be awesome for my clients. And you've got a big Asian following, I'm sure, as well. So I think the cultural aspect is probably is a real challenge. I find it's but this is how we cook, and I get that. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
An interesting. I'll just highlight an interesting thing. As a proportion in the UK, Black, African, and Caribbean, and Indian women have the highest proportion of diabetes compared to the population.
Yeah.
So that already tells me that, obviously, me from a West Indian background, Indian women, the way that you live and eat isn't quite working for a lot of you. Got to change it, people. Got to change it. So you have to try, and you have to be a bit intentional about how you do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've had quite a few diabetic clients who we've managed to get into remission, and that's amazing. I mean, that's such an amazing thing, because, as we know, diabetes is a metabolic condition. So if you have diabetes, you're at high risk of getting high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and lots of other conditions. So, you know, to reverse even just one will improve your health massively. But, you know, so the Asian diet, people will say to me, oh, the Asian diet's really unhealthy. I said, it's not unhealthy. I'll tell you what's unhealthy about the Asian diet is the amount of oil that we put in foods and the amount of fried food that we have in food. So I go to India pretty much every year, and I love Indian food. I mean, I could eat it forever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like even if you go to an Indian restaurant and you ask for a papadum, it always comes fried. Have you noticed that? Always comes fried. And I'm like, can you roast it for me? And they're like, oh, you know. So fried food tastes better. But do you know what? It's that kind of thing where we need a little bit of education around, you know what, eat fried food, eat it, but eat less of it, you know, and put your ghee in your food. Again, ghee is not unhealthy. I did a whole thing on
no, not at all.
fats the other day. You know, people were surprised when I said ghee is actually one of the better fats to cook with, but it's the amount that you put in. And the other thing, yeah. And don't get me wrong, like, you know, my husband always says to me, oh God, he loves my mom's cooking. I said, well, I'll tell you why he loves my mom's cooking. Number one, she puts load of bloody oil in it. And number two, she puts load of bloody gore in it. I don't know what the English word for gore is. Is it jaggery? It's jaggery.
Jaggery, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, jaggery. Or she'll say to me, yeah, but it's not sugar. Okay, it pretty much is, right? So, you know, and I'll say to her, and she now knows that if she cooks anything and she adds sugar to it, I won't eat it, because I'll just say to her, I don't need it. Put a few extra spices in it, get the flavor that way. You don't need to put, you know. So that's the problem with Indian cookery. And the older generation of ladies, this is a thing. They find it difficult to do all of those, implement all of those things. So even just, I'm not saying cut it out, I'm saying gradually reduce it, because that's the best way to do it. Indian food has got so many nutritional benefits. It's unbelievable. Yeah. We just need to make it work for us. Awesome. So carry on enjoying it. Just make a few changes, like don't add sugar, and don't put as much ghee in it, and just eat less fried food. So
you just touched on a very good point. Because I got a lot of clients that come to me and they're like, oh, do you know what it is, Greg? I eat too much sugar, or I eat too much bread. And one of the things I point out to a lot of people is that the high calorie foods are the ones with fat in them.
Yeah.
Is that something you experience a lot of?
Yeah, I mean, fat. So when you look at the three macronutrients, fat, carbs, and proteins, carbs and proteins have 4 calories per gram
Mhm.
of that particular food. Fat, however, has 9, so it's more than double calories per 1 gram. So again, I have people say to me, "Oh, but I have a healthy diet." So this is why when people say they're healthy eating, but they're not losing weight, that could be a reason why, because you're eating all the right foods. You're eating nuts and beans, nuts and seeds and
Avocado.
avocados.
Yeah.
They're all healthy for you. Olive oil, but how much of it are you eating? Because it's very, very easy. I mean, again, this goes back down to calorie awareness. A whole avocado could be 300 calories.
Yeah.
That's a lot. You know,
That's
it's
a
very
meal.
healthy.
For some
Yeah,
people.
it's one of my meals. Yeah, but you know, so it's very so um, we just need to be a bit more aware of the foods that we eat that are higher in fats. That's not to say eating fat does not make you fat, but like with any food group, it's how much of that food that you eat. So and as you know, the problem is the foods that contain, and actually my next video on Monday, I'm gonna record it today, is all about sugar addiction and is it real? Because
Sugar. No,
yeah, because I don't know about you, Greg, but I have never seen anybody put a spoon in a bag of sugar and eat it. Have you?
no. What you do is you get a £5 note, roll it up. You have to get an old one because these,
Yeah, I like this one. I like
yeah,
this one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
these new notes don't roll, right? So you
That's
keep
a good
one.
one. I like that one. I'm going to steal that idea from
Oh,
you.
yeah, well, okay, as long as you give me credit, right? So what
I will do.
you have to roll up your £5 note and start snorting your sugar out of the bag. That's
Yeah,
how you know you're addicted to sugar. Like no one
yeah.
does that.
The problem with I keep saying problem. I don't mean to say problem. Sugar foods that are tasty contain a lot of fats and the wrong type of fats, trans fats. Okay, those are the things that we find in crisps, chocolates, cakes, fried foods, and they are all the things that we love, you know, and it's very palatable,
Yeah,
you
fat
know. So
things tasty. Like
I mean, how many times have you heard of somebody eating just one biscuit? I mean, like, hello, uh, it's just really hard, isn't it? And also, these foods, Greg, are normally quite cheap. So, you know, how often have you, I'll tell you what, I love my strawberries, right, and blueberries in my smoothie. They're bloody expensive. So I've never been to any of the supermarkets and seen 3 for 2 or buy one, get 2 free on strawberries, but I've seen it on cakes, I've seen it on biscuits, you see? So we just need to understand, is it sugar that we're addicted to, or is it the foods that contain these high levels of carbs and sugars?
yeah,
Because trans fat is what makes it nice.
yeah, it's the mix. It's a
Yeah.
combination of salt and fat or sugar and fat. That's what gives you the mix.
I mean, have you ever heard of any of your clients ever said, "Oh my God, I can't wait to eat a breast of chicken"? Have you? You're sado then.
Although I'd probably say, and this is where people need to understand, instead of having a chicken breast, to be fair for me, I'd rather have the thigh because the thigh is fattier.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that because I'm not
Yeah,
meat eater.
so the thigh, so that yeah, me being a carnivore or omnivore, shall I say? Yeah, so the thigh is fatter, it's fattier, so it's more succulent.
Okay.
Whereas the breast is a little bit drier. So I'll
Okay.
naturally go for a thigh. Give me a choice. Thigh.
That's why it's tastier then, because I've heard people
Exactly.
say, "Yeah, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Honestly didn't know that."
that's why thighs
Oh,
and legs are so tasty because it's fatter
right.
than the
Didn't know
white meat.
that.
See? But that's
Okay.
the same for things like a chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Interesting when I point it out to people and say, you do know that actually 51% of the calories come from fat. And they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the fats again.
And that's not the same type of fat that we get from olive oil or what we get from say an avocado or what we get from nuts. That is trans fats. That's a whole different topic as well. But and those are the kind of foods, they're all processed foods, and there's a lot more stuff added into those to make it taste nicer and to help to preserve it more for a longer period of time. So but they're all the foods that we love, you know. That's the thing.
And but the message is that I'm getting from you is that you don't need to necessarily cut them out totally. You just need to
Definitely
know
not.
where they fit. And I think one of the things I teach clients, and I've been teaching this a lot lately, is like, oh my God, I've failed on my diet because I had a chocolate bar. And I'm like, which chocolate bar was it? And they're like, Cadbury's. I'm like, oh, 250 calories. So tell me where your other 12,000 calories came from.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And also the thing is, when you're looking at dieting, most people want quick results, obviously, but the only way you're going to get results over a period of time quicker is by something that is going to be adherent to, that you're going to adhere to, and something that you're going to be able to sustain for a period of time. And the way that you can do that is to enjoy some of the foods that you enjoy. So I have, I'm sure you've heard of flexible dieting. I promote that a lot. That, do you know what? Goes back to the whole, how we started the conversation today. It's all about happiness. You've got to do things that make you happy. Find foods. If you want that bar of chocolate a day, have it. Equally, if you have 3 bars of chocolate a day, you've done it. Move on. Tomorrow's a new day. Don't dwell on it. Just next time, be aware of how it's going to make you feel afterwards. Because so flexible dieting is all about 80% of foods from nutritious food. So that's where you're going to meet your fiber, you're going to meet your protein targets, you're going to meet all of those kind of targets, and then 20% of whatever it is that you want to enjoy.
Yeah.
And that way you'll be happier, you'll enjoy your dieting journey a bit more, and you'll be happier and you'll be able to adhere to it.
Awesome.
So yeah, I definitely don't believe in food restriction. Again, I did a video on this yesterday. Absolutely not. If you decide that you don't want to eat bread for a certain reason, fine. But should you cut out gluten? No. Should you cut out carbs? No. And I would really question somebody if they wanted to cut out something specific. People, Greg, at work, I used to do sugar-free, no sugar November. We've done it for a period. We've done it for a number of years because I sit on the wellbeing team at work. And this year I said, I don't want to do it because I don't believe in it. I said, the only reason why people feel better, or they've lost weight, not eating any chocolates, is because you've cut down. So, so the best thing to do. So this year, what we started something new. We did inclusion instead of exclusion. So I said, right, for the month of November, let's try something new. Every day, every week, try something new that you wouldn't have done before. So let's think about what we can include in our diet that you haven't included before, rather than what you can exclude. And it's such a brilliant way of trying to get people to experiment with new foods. And it just changes that mind shift of, oh, I can't eat that, I can't eat that, I can't eat that, So again, it's all just down to, for me, it's all about education, I think, because I think it's really helped me.
Awesome. So final question. This has been fun. I want you to just leave the listeners with 4 tips, your 4 biggest tips that they can take away and go and implement now.
From a nutrition point of view?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So my first tip would be to eat an adequate amount of protein. And I said earlier about how that's always the most talked about macronutrient. And it's because most people, even meat eaters, don't eat enough. So eat a reasonable amount, because you know what, especially if you're dieting, it's got so many advantages, and number one of them is that it will make you feel fuller for a longer period of time. So make sure that you eat that. Just educate yourself a little bit on that. Second of all, find a way of implementing a diet strategy that you enjoy, something that is going to be something that's going to be able to fit into your lifestyle. So there's no point in me saying to somebody, right, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, if it's not going to be achievable for them. Because if you're hitting your goals week on week, that's going to motivate you and it's going to make you more determined to carry on. The third one would be to increase your NEAT. So we haven't spoken about NEAT now, but NEAT is everything basically outside of the gym. Anything outside of the gym or exercise, keep moving. It doesn't matter how you do it, whether it's walking your dog, cleaning your house, doing your gardening. I know it's not the right weather now, but it doesn't matter. Just keep moving, because that is the biggest game changer. And it was for me, because you know what, I was active Monday to Friday, to walk the kids to school, walk from home. Saturday and Sunday, nothing. I used to think, oh God, don't have to walk the kids to school today. And modern day life means that there's less movement going on. We've got Amazon, we've got home delivery, I've even got robots in my area now. Can you believe it? Delivering food. It's
Oh
amazing. I mean,
wow,
it's amazing,
crazy, isn't it?
but it is bloody amazing.
At least before, right? If you wanted a takeaway, you actually had to go down the road and get it. But now,
Yeah. We've got what's Uber Eats or whatever it is. So it's really everything is at a tip of a button now. We've got cleaners. We've got, so we're just moving less and less. I mean, this is a whole different topic. But when people say to me, "Oh, my metabolism's slowing down, I'm getting older," sweetheart, it's you that slowed down.
Amen.
You're slowing down.
Amen.
Remember those nights, Greg, when you were still partying away, dancing away at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Now you're in bed at 9 o'clock.
I know. Now I'm like, oh yeah, going out.
Yeah.
I love lockdown. I'm like, yeah, I can't go. I don't need to go out anymore.
So my tip number 4 would be, to be kinder to yourself and to understand that this is a journey. You're going to have ups and downs, and you know what? If one day you feel like you failed, move on, because we all have our days. Even me and you, we know what we're doing, and yet still we have our days when you're not in the mood. Like I've had a few days when the last few months when I haven't fit in my 4th gym session of the week. Move on, it's fine. If it's what you do more of that matters, rather than what you do less of. So if you've overeaten on your calories one day, or you missed a workout, it's fine, chill out. But you know what, don't make that a consistent behavior.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's really important.
No, but I think those 4 tips, anyone takes those away and implements them, they're going to get some awesome results. So just tell the listeners where they can find you, and how they can contact you.
So I am on Instagram. My Facebook page is a bit dead at the minute, so Instagram is where I'm at. And my Instagram handle is Manisha_your_nutritionist. And everything that I've talked about today, it's all in detail, because I like to provide content to the people that are following me, and help them to make better decisions, as we've mentioned. So yeah, that's Manisha_your nutritionist underscore something like that.
Cool, awesome. I'll make sure that your details will be in the notes as well, so people can click and find you. And I think it sounds like we need to do like a part 2 on this one. So we'll, at some point, let's hook up and let's get you back on, and we can dive into a specific topic.
I'll tell you what part 2 would be good for is metabolism slowing down as we're getting older.
All right.
Because I've learned that the hard way.
My metabolism slowed down. Are you dead?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
it's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a big one. I'd happily rap about that. So let's do that. That'd be awesome. So yeah, Have an awesome day, and we'll catch you on the other side. Anyone listening back to this, share this podcast with your friends and family. Leave a review on iTunes so more people can hear the podcast. And I will see you soon. Talk soon, people. Bye.
Bye.